Rivian just had their best quarter ever. And honestly, it feels like everything is finally clicking for them. The earnings report dropped, and it beat expectations across almost every single metric that matters. More vehicles delivered than any previous quarter. Gross profit hitting new highs. Momentum building in a real way. And somehow, in the middle of all that, they found time to spin off an AI and robotics company. They're calling it Mind Robotics. Because apparently every major car company needs a robot division now. Tesla has Optimus. Now Rivian has Mind Robotics. The race is officially on in more ways than one. The stock responded positively to all of this news. Investors are feeling good about where things are heading. If you bought Rivian stock recently, there's a decent chance you're actually sitting on some gains right now. Unless you bought during the IPO. In that case, you already know it's been a long and painful road. But the point is this: the trajectory has completely changed. The story is no longer about survival. It's about growth now. It's about scale. It's about what Rivian actually becomes in the next few years. And the vehicle at the center of all of that future is the R2. A car people have been waiting for. Let's talk about what we now know, because Rivian has given us some genuinely important new details. When the R2 was first unveiled, Rivian said it would come in 3 powertrain options eventually. A single-motor rear-wheel drive, a dual-motor all-wheel drive, and a tri-motor performance variant. That was the plan. 3 tiers, different price points, different performance levels, something for everyone. Now the question became, which version does Rivian launch with first? And I had a strong prediction. I genuinely thought Rivian would open with the tri-motor. Chase the premium buyers first. Maximize early margins. That's the playbook Tesla used. Start expensive, build brand prestige, then work your way down later. And it made logical sense for Rivian too. The tri-motor R2 would be insanely capable and powerful. You could easily justify charging $70,000 or more for it. Rivian fans would line up and pay that. It would have been a high-margin launch vehicle with strong demand and a compelling performance story. I thought that was the obvious move. I was wrong. And I'm genuinely happy about being wrong here. Rivian is actually launching the R2 with the dual-motor configuration. Not the most expensive option first. They're starting in the middle of the lineup. All-wheel drive, solid performance, but not the tri-motor beast. And they were clear that this is not a stripped-down bare-bones version of the R2 either. They described it as adequately or moderately equipped. Real features. Real quality. A real Rivian experience. That is actually a smart and mature decision. It tells you a lot about how Rivian thinks right now. They're not chasing hype with the most extreme variant. They're building a sustainable, scalable business model. The dual motor is also the configuration Rivian knows best. Most of their current vehicles are dual motor. The R1T, the R1S, their best-selling configurations all dual motor. They've refined this setup for years. They know how to tune it. They know how to optimize it. They're confident in what it delivers. A tri-motor system on a brand new platform with brand new motors is a different engineering challenge entirely. There's more calibration needed. More performance modes to fine-tune. More time required to get it exactly right. By launching dual motor first, Rivian is making a disciplined, smart call. Less risk, more confidence, better margins. Speaking of new motors, this R2 is not using the same motors from the current R1 lineup. Rivian built a brand new drive unit for the R2. They're calling it the Maximus Drive Unit. That name alone tells you this is not a carryover part. This is engineered from the ground up for R2. New platform, new cells, new drive unit. The R2 is truly a clean sheet vehicle in important ways. And that brings us to the battery. The R2 will use 4695 cylindrical cells, larger format than what's in R1s. For now, Rivian is importing those cells from South Korea. That's a temporary supply chain decision. They've already confirmed that starting in 2027, they'll source those same 4695 cells from within the United States. That switch matters for a few reasons. It simplifies the supply chain significantly. It reduces logistical complexity. It also supports the structural battery pack design Rivian is using. Fewer parts, cleaner integration, better manufacturing efficiency. So the long-term production picture looks increasingly solid. The foundation being laid here is genuinely impressive. Now let's talk about the single motor. Because that's the configuration most people are actually waiting for. The single motor R2 is the one Rivian has been teasing at a $45,000 starting price for a long time. That's the vehicle that could truly open up Rivian's market. Reach people who couldn't afford an R1. But here's the thing, Rivian has never actually sold a single motor passenger vehicle. Not once. The delivery van uses a single motor setup. But that's a commercial product with entirely different requirements. For the R1 lineup, every variant has been dual motor or more. Single motor just hasn't been their thing. That tells you that launching a single motor R2 is not as simple as just switching off one motor. It requires its own engineering work, its own performance tuning, its own validation and real-world testing. My honest expectation is that single motor R2s come last, after dual motor is ramped and running smoothly, after the tri-motor launches and gives Rivian that premium halo model at the top of the R2 range. Only then, once production is confident and costs are well managed, does the $45,000 single motor arrive. And even then, I'd expect the actual launch pricing for single motor to start a bit higher than $45,000. Maybe $47,000 or $48,000 to start. Then as manufacturing scales and costs drop, closer to that magic number. That's how this industry works. The headline price is a target, not always a day one reality. Now, about the launch edition specifically, Rivian hasn't given us official pricing for it yet. But based on everything we know, I think we can make a pretty educated guess about where it lands. My personal prediction is that the launch edition dual-motor R2 starts somewhere in the $60,000 range. Think about how Tesla handled the Model Y launch edition. Premium positioning right out of the gate. Limited edition colors, exclusive badges, interior options that won't be available once the standard models arrive. Rivian will likely do something similar. Create urgency and exclusivity around the first wave of buyers. Those early adopters get something special. They also pay a premium for that privilege. That's the deal. Once launch edition inventory is absorbed, you'd expect a standard dual-motor R2 to come down to around $55,000, maybe $54,000. Still all-wheel drive, still fully capable, but without the exclusive cosmetic touches. And then Rivian might do something interesting that they already do with their R1 lineup software-tiered power. On the R1S and R1T, you can have the same dual-motor hardware but different performance unlocks via software. You pay more, you get more acceleration. You pay less, the same motors run at reduced output. It's a controversial move. A lot of consumers genuinely hate the idea of paying for performance you already own. But from an investor and business perspective, it is pure genius. Software revenue has almost no cost attached to it. You build the hardware once. You sell it multiple times through different software packages. Margins improve dramatically. Shareholders absolutely love this model. It's recurring, scalable, and directly tied to vehicles already in the field. And Rivian has clearly signaled that they want to be seen as a software and AI company, not just a car company. Following in Tesla's footsteps on this front makes complete sense strategically, even if it frustrates buyers. So there could be a $60,000 launch edition R2 and a $54,000 standard R2 with identical hardware underneath. The only real difference being software, cosmetics, and a few exclusive options. That's where this is heading. Now let's talk range, because range is the number everyone asks about with any new electric vehicle. I expect the dual-motor launch edition R2 to land somewhere between 300 and 330 miles of EPA range. I don't think Rivian is going to push for 350 miles or beyond on this first variant. That's not the goal. The goal right now is hitting strong profit margins on a vehicle that's genuinely affordable to manufacture. Chasing maximum range means bigger batteries, more weight, more cost, more complexity. That fights the mission. Rivian is trying to build a profitable business. That means smart compromises, and range is one of them. 300 miles is more than enough for most buyers. It covers the vast majority of real-world use cases. And honestly, if the driving experience and software are strong, most people won't be upset about 300 miles. What might frustrate some buyers is charging speed. And here, I have to be upfront, don't expect miracles. The R1 lineup is not known for particularly fast charging. The charging curve on those vehicles is not impressive. The 4695 cells that the R2 will use are not known for exceptional thermal management or peak charge rates either. So if you're hoping the R2 is going to charge from 10 to 80% in 20 minutes, temper those expectations. It's likely going to be competent, but not class-leading. Maybe around the same level as current Rivian vehicles. That might be a pain point for some buyers. But I think Rivian has deliberately made that trade-off consciously. Better charging speed requires more engineering investment, more battery complexity, and likely more cost per vehicle. That cost either eats into margins or gets passed to the consumer. Neither outcome serves Rivian's current mission. Once they're truly profitable and the R2 line is running at full scale, they can revisit that in future iterations. For now, good enough charging plus strong driving experience plus compelling price is the winning formula here. And speaking of winning formulas, let's talk about what the R2 could mean for Rivian as a brand. Right now, Rivian is beloved by a passionate niche, the kind of buyers who spend $80,000 or $90,000. Outdoor enthusiasts. Adventure-minded professionals, people who genuinely love what Rivian stands for as a company. The R2 changes that completely. At $55,000 or $60,000, Rivian enters a massive new segment of the market. This is where the real volume lives. This is where Tesla has dominated with the Model Y for years. A compelling R2 at the right price could genuinely pull buyers who were considering a Model Y or Model 3. Rivian has the brand authenticity that Tesla has somewhat lost. People actually trust and love Rivian's identity. If the R2 delivers on its promise, this isn't just a new product launch. It's a transformation of the entire company. Rivian goes from being a niche premium brand to a mainstream EV company with serious global ambitions. And that's exactly what leadership has been telegraphing. The R2 is the vehicle that makes Rivian truly legitimate. Not a startup anymore. A real, scaled, profitable automaker with a growing and loyal customer base worldwide. There's also the R3 to consider. Rivian has teased a smaller, more affordable model that would sit below the R2. But the R3 only makes sense once the R2 is fully up and running and the business is genuinely profitable. You can't build a cheap vehicle if the economics of your more expensive vehicle aren't working yet. So the R2's success is the prerequisite for the R3 even existing as a real product. The chain matters here. Good earnings lead to profitable R2. Profitable R2 leads to scaled R3. Scaled R3 leads to true mass market reach. That's the roadmap. And after this earnings report, for the first time, that roadmap actually looks believable. Rivian also gave us a timeline update on the configurator and pricing reveal. That's coming in early 2026. There will be an event where they walk through all the configurations, all the specs, all the pricing tiers. That's when we'll finally know exactly what you get at each price point, what you sacrifice, what you keep. Does the $45,000 single motor have a smaller battery with 250 miles of range? Very likely, yes. Does it still have Rivian's excellent software interface and camera system? That's the question I really want answered. And here's where Rivian's AI ambitions could actually work in the consumer's favor, not against them. If Rivian wants to position itself as a software and autonomy company, the cameras and compute matter most. Tesla includes their full self-driving hardware on every single vehicle, even the cheapest Model 3. Every car gets it. The revenue comes from selling the software subscription on top. The hardware is a cost of doing business for Tesla. Rivian might follow that same logic. Include the best camera array and computing hardware on every R2 variant, even the $45,000 base model. because that hardware is the foundation for every future software revenue stream. That would be the smart play. That's how you build a loyal customer base who upgrades their software over time. And Rivian's camera placement on the R1 vehicles is genuinely excellent, better than most competitors in the space. Their software design is clean, intuitive, and improving with every over-the-air update they push to owners. If they carry those strengths into the R2, the tech experience alone could be a major competitive advantage. That's the kind of thing that makes someone choose a Rivian over a comparable Ford or Hyundai or Kia. Not just the brand identity, not just the adventure aesthetic, but the software actually being delightful to use. Now there is one area where Rivian genuinely needs to improve as they scale, and that's service and repair. Talk to almost any Rivian owner online, and the same complaint comes up again and again. Service wait times. People waiting months. Not days. Not weeks. Actual months. Just to get a windshield replaced or a minor repair done. That is a brand-damaging problem when you're trying to serve a passionate but small customer base of R1 owners. Multiply that demand by 5 or 10 times with R2 volume, and you have a serious operational crisis forming. Rivian must scale their service network in parallel with their production ramp. It cannot be an afterthought. Mobile service vans help. They've invested in that. But bricks-and-mortar service centers need to expand rapidly too. The best vehicle in the world loses its appeal fast when getting it fixed is a 3-month ordeal. This is the unglamorous but critically important work that will determine whether R2 buyers become loyal fans, or whether they tell everyone they know to avoid Rivian because the ownership experience was frustrating and slow. Fixing production is hard. Fixing service infrastructure is also hard, but Rivian has to do both at the same time. The earnings report shows they have the financial footing now to invest in this. There really are no more excuses. So where does all of this leave us? In the best position Rivian has been in since they went public honestly. Profitable at the gross margin level. Scaling production. New platform launching. AI divisions spinning up independently. A vehicle in the R2 that could genuinely transform their market position and reach millions of new customers. A realistic path to net profitability once R2 volume kicks in and cost reductions continue to compound. And a brand that still has enormous goodwill among consumers who want to see them succeed long-term. The dual-motor launch edition was not the announcement I expected. But it's the announcement that made me more confident. It shows discipline. It shows Rivian is building this company for the long haul, not just chasing headlines. That's the version of Rivian that actually makes it, the one that makes smart calls even when flashy ones are tempting. So yes, the R2 launch edition is dual motor. Yes, it'll probably cost around $60,000 to start. Yes, charging speed won't blow you away. And yes, the service network needs serious work before R2 volume arrives. But the big picture? The big picture is looking better for Rivian than it ever has before. And that matters. The R2 is coming. The business is improving. And if Rivian executes, this is just the beginning of something big.